The voice of women. The voice of women. 91.7.
The big question on WFM 91.7. My name is Daniel Adaja, and on the big question, we always make sure we look forward to solutions on every conversation we have here. And this morning, on the big question, we're looking at COVID-19 youth involvement in revitalizing the economy. That is very important conversation because a lot of people have been wondering, where are the youths in all of these things that have been going on with COVID-19, post-COVID-19? And I have the opportunity to speak with the Special Assistant, ICT and Corporate Relations to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Oluwakemi and Melody Areola. Good morning.
Good morning. How are we today?
I am great, and you?
Awesome. I'm great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
When we talk about youth involvement in revitalizing the economy, do you agree that we are not ready as young people?
Of course we are ready. I disagree with that 100%.
Okay.
We are ready to revitalize this economy. We are already revitalizing the economy.
Great.
There are a lot of young people in amazing spaces. I can't 100% be classified as a youth myself,
okay.
but if I would say I just left the age bracket, it will probably be a few seconds ago, so to speak. And this is my second stint as a special advisor to a minister.
Okay.
I have done 4 years before, and I'm doing my second half of my second set of 4 years now. And I feel I am contributing personally. I might be one drop in the ocean,
okay.
but we all know that little drops of water do make the ocean. So if I'm doing my bit, I look around, a few of my colleagues are doing their bit,
okay.
and so we are already contributing. So we shouldn't say that we're not ready yet, because we're here. We're just not hearing the numbers that we want to be hearing.
Okay, so it's about the numbers that we want to hear that we're not hearing.
Yes, it's about the numbers, and it's also about, I really love the fact that you've given me the opportunity to speak this morning, from both angles, from both being a mature youth,
okay.
as well as a woman. We probably don't have a lot of, would I say, media personalities reach out to people like us to speak. So when normally if you would reach my organization, you'd say, I'd like to speak with the minister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But nobody remembers that the people like us are here to speak to.
Maybe because... Let me say maybe because I find it difficult to a lot of the time speak to a lot of young people in governance because I have spoken with a few and I'm not impressed. Honestly, I'll tell you my honest truth.
Really?
I have not been impressed. I've spoken with a few young people who work directly with some political parties. But I know the first time I got impressed, and I think like your sector is one of the only sector that has seen like dramatic improvement of young people being involved in, because I had the opportunity to speak with the special advisor to the current governor of Lagos State on technology, right? And then he spoke a whole lot. It was more like a small roundtable conversation among startups and all of these young people who are in the tech industry. And it's impressive to hear that they're doing a lot. That's why my first question was, do you think that young people are ready when it comes to the revitalizing of the Nigerian economy? Today is June 12th, right? And then we're looking at our electoral process and see how it has gone down the drain. And some people are saying by 2023 we're looking at electronic voting. And then we see that the fact that we are not even stabilized with our electricity already as we speak, there's still a lot of troubles with that. We see that a lot of startups in the tech industry, we don't have enough tech hubs to incubate startups. We see that private universities are producing better tech people than our government schools.
Okay, I totally agree with everything you said, and I've actually taken it on board, because for me, let's go back to where we started this particular phase of the interview, where you said you're not impressed by a lot of the young people that you come across in government. And I feel we should collectively work together to change that. So how we can do that is, if we do realize some, would I call it idiosyncrasies, or should I call it below par activities or behaviors of some of these young people, let's flag them up and let's work together, not in a confrontational way, but let's work together to try to say, okay, Lady Kemi, this is where you're making a few errors. How can we assist you in making it better? Okay. That's number one. And then number two, I shouldn't really be saying this on radio. I hope my Oga at the top of it doesn't kill me. But we are releasing an app challenge next week.
Okay.
Everyone should stay tuned for that. And we have got a significant pool of funds to assist ICT development. So we've got a significant pool of funds to assist SMEs now without collateral. Well, so we are doing our best to ensure that the young people in any sector, whether it's in a private university or you're in a government school, that doesn't stop you from coming to us. That doesn't stop you from accessing the funds that we've got available. All you need to have is talent. Number one, you need to be skilled. And number two, you need to be able to look for the opportunities. Because what I've observed, I've been in this youth ministry for less than a year. What I have observed is that there are a lot of opportunities, but a lot of young people are not aware of the opportunities.
Okay, what is the problem with young people not being aware? Because I remember being part of a project sometimes last year into the middle of this year, and then I was speaking with a particular young CEO who was speaking about the Bank of Industry loan, and I was like, how did you access such loans? It was like a lot of young people are not taking advantage of some of these things. So what is the problem between the government having so many initiatives that can alleviate young people from poverty and them not getting access to such information?
Okay, so every young person listening to this, please do not shoot me, but let's be honest and candid with ourselves. The reason why a lot of young people are not getting this information is because they are not looking for where to look. You can't expect to be spoon-fed everything. Let's drop our entitlement mentality and let's go out there in search of what belongs to us. So if you do go online and you do have data and you do sub for me, and you get online, use the data wisely. Go online and search for opportunities. We have a website now called Nigeria Online Youth Assembly, NOYA. If you look for NOYA, Nigeria Online Youth Assembly, it's relatively new. We're still doing a trial, but any opportunities we find for young people, we send it straight there. If there's any young person, we're good above 60 million. Any opportunities that any young person finds, why don't you send it into a pool so that it can be shared amongst other people? So our problem, because I am one of them, is we do not look for information. We're busy posting what we shouldn't be posting. We're busy insulting who we shouldn't be insulting. Let us use our time wisely. So even if you want to spend 1 hour online, you want to spend 30 minutes joking with your friends, and you in that 30 minutes you want to spend 10 minutes for abuse, or whatever, but spend the rest 30 minutes looking for information. If you look for grants, loans, scholarships. If you look, 9 times out of 10, you will find
something. All right, thank you very much. 25 minutes past 9 on the radio. This is the big question, and we're having a conversation on youth involvement in revitalizing the economy. And Special Assistant ICT and Corporate Relations to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Oluwakemi Areola, is having this conversation with me this morning. Now let's talk about, you have played in a government public space for, I think, about, if I say, how many years now?
5 years.
5 years. Now, do you think that there are challenges with the Nigerian political or governmental environment that doesn't allow young people to be involved in revitalizing the economy?
I'm one person that I like to call it straight. I don't like to fake the funk, so to speak. The situation is, in every situation or every industry or wherever you may find yourself, you will find hurdles. And you will find bottlenecks. But what shows the tenacity of a human being is how do you go around them? How do you go over them? How do you scale through any problem? Because you even find problems in your bedroom. Your air conditioner could be leaking. How do you fix it? We don't just look at a problem and sit back and say, oh, my air conditioning is not working. Oh, life is terrible. I give up. But you solve the problem. So if you find yourself in government space, or if you want to get into government space and you do find a bottleneck, why don't you find a way to go around it? A legal way, make sure it's legal. Why don't you find a legal way to go around it? Why don't you look at the problem? One thing I have observed in government as well is we're so quick to point out problems. We're so quick to point out issues. But I'm waiting for people that, so when people come to me and have meetings with me or talk to me over the phone, they're always complaining.
Okay.
And I've said to people, even my friends, don't call me to complain. If you want to call me for a solution. That, oh, I've identified this error here or this issue here. How can we solve it? Yeah, so now that you said to me maybe we are underrepresented in the political sphere or we're underrepresented in certain sectors, why don't we that are on this telephone conversation today or that are on social media, why don't we form a way to ensure that we are better represented? And that's by the dissemination of information, and that's by us looking for the information. Do you know we have a Nigerian Youth Parliament?
Yes, I'm aware. I have a few friends who are there. In fact, I'm currently like special advisor to the Youth Parliament on a few issues.
Aha, brilliant. You know, so we need to get more young people involved. The truth is, yes, we are the leaders of tomorrow. Nobody can take that away from us. But we need to demonstrate that we are capable. I love what you said earlier. You said the few young people you've spoken to have not impressed you. So if we're not impressing you, then how can we impress our elders to let them know that we're ready?
Okay.
When your daddy gives you a car to drive, if your daddy decided in those days to hand over the key to his Volvo, because in my day it was a Volvo, to you, you need to have demonstrated to him that you are capable of driving. There's no way your daddy would give you the key to his prized possession if you've not shown him your capability. So I'm calling on you young people to show their capability. When you come online, stop complaining. Prefer solutions. When you come online, when you come to Twitter, put your proposals, your presentations up there. People are reading, people are seeing. If they see your complaints and your abuses, they will equally see your proposals and presentations.
So
we have taken... Yes, sorry.
Yeah, sorry to cut you in there, but I feel like I should ask this question. Do you think like that the Nigerian youth likes to play the victim?
No, I won't say that. Let me say this. All human beings like to play the victim. All human beings. You know, you become complacent when you're in a comfortable space. And you are a product of your environment. Every human being. When you're born, you're a blank canvas. And whatever is written on that canvas by the world is what the rest of the world will read off of it. So when you're developed in a particular society, that the norm is to continue to behave in a particular manner, you can't blame the young people for emulating that behavior. But we can change the narrative. So I'm not saying that we're playing victim. I'm just saying that probably complaining is what we are used to. So how can we switch it up? And that's what, you know, when I was saying let's prefer solutions. Because in our ministry so far, my principal, he's an avid social media user. And he goes on social media and he's seen a young boxer, Sakina, I think she's 8 or 9 years old, and he will say to the team, find her for me. He goes and he sees somebody playing awesome football. He goes and he says, find that person for me. He goes and he sees opportunities for Nigerian youth. He says, find that opportunity for me. I want us to key into it and scale it up. So, you know, so what I'm saying is if you present yourself, even on social media, as being good enough, you will be found.
Talking about, you talked about changing the narrative, and there's a question that I feel like a lot of young people are concerned about is the fact that when we talk about generational wealth, it's been a lot difficult because I must tell you that Nigerian young people, youths, are very hardworking. I have opportunity to play in the space of a lot of young people, and I see how a lot of young people are doing their bit gradually to ensure that, you know, they make money. But what do you think has been the problem with, you know, making our wealth as young people, or even before now, generational? That is something that is not it is not in quote unquote, very common in the black race, or in the African race, where we see there is transference of wealth from one generation to the other. So it means that a generation could be extremely wealthy, the next generation could not be extremely wealthy. It's easier to pass poverty than to pass wealth.
Yes. Of course. You see, for me personally, I wasn't born here in Nigeria, and I currently do not have family here in Nigeria. But I stepped out of the mold, which my parents still think is rather queer, and I decided to chart my own course. I decided to find a life for myself. So I really don't know where my daddy's houses are, or where my mommy's lands are, or properties are. And because that's not my major concern. My concern is, what am I going to build for myself?
Mm.
What am I going to build for my generation, that are coming after me? And then, should it happen that my parents are able to pass something down to me, amazing, awesome, but it's a bonus.
Okay.
It's not what I'm living my life for. I don't have an entitlement mentality that says anything my father owns must belong to me. I'm not fighting for inheritance or for wealth transfer. Let us come together. It will be awesome, like I said, a massive bonus if something can be transferred down to us. Amazing. But in the meantime, let us look for what we can create. Because we're all looking for oil money. We're all waiting for oil money to trickle down to us. But the oil is drying up. So we need to look for, non-oil, look into our non-oil industry. We need to build them. ICT is building rapidly all over the world. We need to key into that, and I can see young Nigerians keying into that. And they're even, and as you know, from everyone that you speak to, the ICT revolution here in Nigeria is being driven by the young people.
Okay, yes,
so
it is.
It's not an industry that's being transferred to us. It's an industry that we are creating, we are driving, and we are developing.
Okay.
And the same goes to speak with SMEs, for instance. Back in the day in Nigeria, from my observation, I must say, a lot of our parents were into the civil service or the regular jobs. But now, SMEs are contributing
unconventional jobs
to the GDP, yes. And who owns majority of the SMEs? We, the young people, and including me, the mature young people, of course. But yes, it's the youth that are driving SMEs, and SMEs are contributing 50% to GDP.
Okay.
The oil sector is contributing less than 10%. So why are we focusing our energy in the wrong direction?
That leads me to my next question, to cut you there, is that what is it about education that we have missed, that we do not understand, or that we need to begin to understand with regards to educating the young person? What is something that we have missed? Because technically the Nigerian educational system doesn't prepare you to be an entrepreneur. The Nigerian educational system doesn't prepare you to understand that there could be challenges and hurdles. All they're concerned about is the grades you would get, which at the end of the day have not been in quote and unquote, be the reasons why people are getting employed. People are no longer getting employed because of what they studied in school. It's because of the kind of skills that they have. So what have we gotten wrong? What do you think we have gotten wrong with regards to educating young minds?
Again, I will say before I start, young people listening to this interview, please do not shoot me down. But I will be candid. The onus is on you. The onus is not on the educational system. The onus does not lie at the Ministry of Education or at your principal or at your lecturer, or with your lecturer. Because I studied electronic and telecoms engineering.
Okay.
With the CCNA and CCMP on top of, I don't even know what I was doing in it. But when I transitioned, when I moved into Nigeria, I started with social media. And over the years, I've been known as the social media guru. I've been known as the modeling agency expert. I've been known as a fashion. All these things I didn't learn in an engineering class. These are all things that when I do sub my data, as people call it, I go online and I study. And I'm not looking for the major conventional courses. And a friend of mine who has passed on, may still rest in peace, taught me something. He said he doesn't study courses in order to get the certificate at the end of it. He studies courses only to get the knowledge. So you pay for a course, probably £1,000. You do the course, and he wouldn't take the exam because all he wanted was knowledge. So what we need to do, what every individual needs to do, including every young person, we need to expand our horizons. So as much as you go to school to study business administration, I'd like you to add a few modules in fashion, for instance. Add a few modules in something that has got nothing to do with your particular course. And then when you look at career development plans, your career development plan should be, in something that you're passionate about. You need to study it. And the good thing is there are so many free online courses nowadays.
That is so true.
There's so many YouTube videos on so many different topics.
Yes.
So why are we blaming the brick and mortar school for not giving us what we need?
True, very true. This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. We're having a conversation on youth involvement and revitalizing the economy, and Oluwakemi and Melody Areola, Special Assistant ICT Corporate Relations to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport Development, is who I'm speaking with this morning. My next question would be, are young people, are the youth actually aware? Do you, from your survey and playing in the Ministry of Youth and Sport, do you think that young people are aware of the role they have to play in building and also restructuring the growth of the economy?
I love that question. No. And that I can answer a flat out no. We're not aware. We're not aware of the strength that we carry. We're not aware of the responsibilities that we have. And we're not aware of what we can do to fill that gap. There's so much, there's a vast amount of space open for us, but we're not filling it. Instead, we're sitting at home and we're complaining. We need to understand. So what we first of all need to do is we need to understand how we can change things.
Okay.
And then once we understand, so first of all, we need to understand what needs to be changed. Okay. And I'm not saying we need to complain about what is wrong. We need to just identify, okay, what could be changed? Then secondly, we look at how can we change it?
Okay.
And then thirdly, we now need to look at what powers do we have in us to enable us to change it. And one of the major powers that we do have is we have numbers. We are a great number of Nigerians. But you see, unfortunately, our numbers are being used wrongly. Because people that identify our potential in the numbers, they try to make us sway towards their direction. So, this is not a political conversation, but this is not time for us to stand up and fight. This is not time for us to carry placards and destroy things or, rallies or whatever it is that people incite sometimes. This is time for us to look inward, to identify our strengths and our weaknesses, and then how can I support you to be stronger where you are weak, and how can you support me to be stronger where I am weak?
What has been the problem with that collaboration? Because that is a major issue. Like I was saying on the newspaper review this morning, and I said that there had been a culture of acquiring for yourself, which is not the fault of the political space that is ruling us right now. That is a mentality that was instilled with them before them, and even the generation before their parents that raised them. It was go to school and acquire for yourself, build house, buy car, send your children abroad to go to school. It was all about self. But now we are moving we're trying to move in a direction. We are trying to change the narrative and see how when you go to school, you get education. You see how you can bring other people to also get that form of education one way or the other. So what has been the problem with fostering such collaboration among young people?
I love what you said, and that's where we started from before, where we said you are a product of your environment, you're a product of your community. So since that is the narrative that's been passed down, it's kind of difficult to change it at this stage, and it needs to be an inner thing. So you need to identify as a young person, what is your purpose in life? And you need to look at the people that have passed. A lot of people have passed over the last few months. Look at their lives and think about the fact that with all the wealth that they have amassed, where did it end up? Did it take them to heaven? Did it guarantee them paradise? But what guarantees heaven and paradise on earth is to be able to invest in other people. It's to be able to, so for me, I love, being able to assist people in going to school. That's a personal thing. But everybody needs to look within them to find what is your personal thing. What will live after you when you're gone? Is it just the few children that you've trained? Unfortunately, we see that drugs and mental health issues is a major thing here in Nigeria. Is that if you have 3 children and that's the space that they've ended up in, is that all? Is that everything you've lived for? Is that everything you've fought and stolen for? So it shouldn't be that way. It should be when you wake up every morning, you think, how am I going to change lives? Because I also believe in the law of karma, the laws of the universe, that whatever you project is whatever you're going to get back to yourself. So if you're out there thinking it's all about me, the universe will also be thinking it's all about the universe. So you're not going to get anything back. But if you're thinking about it's all about a collective, we the young people, the 60 million or however many we are, it's about us. What can I do to assist other people? Then the universe will think, what can I do to assist this individual? So we need to come together. We need to stop, because a sense of self just boxes you into a very small room, and you can't acquire more than you can step or you can walk yourself.
Okay.
But when you're out there with a million other people, if your feet stop, somebody else will continue for you. Let other people carry the baton. It's not about I achieved this. It's not about you. It's about a collective. So when you wake up in the morning, you want to tell yourself, I am a Nigerian youth.
Okay.
You don't want to say, I am Oluwakemi. Because then when Oluwakemi dies, what lives after Oluwakemi? But as long as I am a Nigerian youth, even in the next 100 years, there will still be Nigerian youth.
Yeah.
So I think from everything I've said today, what I keep saying is the onus is on the individual. You need to wake up every morning and decide to make your life better. And no, it's not about traipsing up and down the streets with your TV. It's not about that anymore. It's about going online. There's so many digital jobs now. Do you know that in this pandemic now, a lot of jobs are being cut. A lot of people are losing their jobs. But a lot of people are actually getting jobs.
That is
and
true.
who are the people getting jobs? People in the digital space.
Yeah.
Who are the majority of the digital space people? Young people. So opportunities are opening up for you. Facebook are employing people based in Nigeria. Google are employing based in Nigeria. You don't even need to move. You can be domiciled in Iyanakwaja, you can be domiciled in Gwagwalada, and be working in Los Angeles and being paid in cool cash. So tap into the opportunity and stop wasting your energy every morning complaining about government, private sector. Nigeria is hard. The world is hard. Life is hard. How are you going to make life less hard for somebody else? And that way, the universe will make life less hard for you.
Thank you. What should the government be doing? And I'm asking you for recommendations for the government in order for them to be able to involve young people in revitalizing the economy.
Okay, so as a government, the role the government plays is to create an enabling environment for our young people to thrive. I feel the government is trying their best in the areas that they know. So one suggestion I would make would be, let's listen to the youth. Let's hear their grievances. So when the youth comes to social media to talk about something, I don't want it to be in an abusive manner. Let it be in a constructive way. So for the government to be able to solve your problem, they need to know what your problem is.
Okay.
So if your problem is, so for instance, a couple of weeks ago during the total lockdown, we had a lot of online training for young people. And I heard from a lot of young people that their problem was data. We reached out, my principal reached out to Airtel and spoke to Airtel to say, this is what my young people are facing. What can you do for me? And Airtel came in with subsidized data plans for training. Because the minister knew what the problem was, he was able to solve it.
Okay.
So right now the government needs to listen to the young people, strategically saying what their problems are. You can't just come in with, life is difficult, I have no money. How do you want to make money? We can see people working in the area of agriculture. We can see people working in the area of tech, but there might be some other areas that have not even been brought forward. So let them bring, if the government can listen to the young people and let the young people say, okay, in these areas, this is where we need help. Because I know when MSME clinics started, MSME clinics were started in order to solve the problem SMEs were having in accessing funding or accessing any resources that they need. So registration in CAC, funding, NAFTA, all the necessaries. So now that's been able, well, not 100% solved. Nothing can be 100% solved, but at least it's solving the problem. So what other problems exist? I don't know how the government wants to reach out to our young people, or not just our young, this conversation about our young people, how the government wants to reach out to our young people to say, this is my listening ear. Tell me your problems, prefer your solutions, and let me see how I can fix it for you. So the government, communication is two ways. It can't just always be the government saying, this is what we've got for you. The government also needs to listen to say, what would you like us to have for you? So yes, yes, if we can, we as a government, because I am, within the government, we as a government need to be, we need to listen more. So I would personally try to create more listening mechanisms. So we can listen more.
Yeah.
But I would love the young people to jump on Twitter and tell me, how can we listen more? Do we have a Zoom meeting? Do we have a webinar? Do we create a portal where you can come and drop your comments? What would be easier for them would to communicate their problems?
Yeah.
And, we can try. I'm not going to say we can solve them 100%, but at least we can try to start to solve them.
That is true. That is true. We got to wrap up this conversation right now, and I would want you to give out your final words on the conversation that we've had so far.
This has been an awesome conversation. I'm really honored to have joined this conversation this morning because listening to you, I've had a bit more insight into the youth plight, and I've also decided that we need to have this two-way mechanism listening tool, which I believe you would assist us in probably putting together for the young people.
Okay.
My final word to every young Nigerian: the onus is on you. It starts from you. Whatever future you want to create for yourself has to come from you. Come together as a collective and let's prefer solutions to the problems that we face. The onus is on us and we can get it done.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You have a lovely weekend.
You too. Have a lovely one.
Yes. The big question, Women Radio 91.7, COVID-19 youth involvement on revitalizing the economy. We had a conversation with Oluwakemi and Melody Areola, Special Assistant ICT and Corporate Relations to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport Development in Nigeria.
WFM 91.7.